3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Matt. Today I am talking to you about Captain Marvel. Directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, Captain Marvel sees the introduction of Carol Danvers into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is also Marvel's first female-led superhero movie, which is surprising considering, you know, we've had Scarlett Johansson around as well as Black Widow. She is apparently getting her own movie. Don't get why they didn't do hers first, but whatever. And we've also got Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, who's pretty badass. One of the most powerful characters sort of within the MCU. Apparently she's getting like a TV show on the Disney streaming service, so maybe that's why she's not got a movie. Now the first thing that I will say before going into this is before the release of the movie was getting a load of flack for various reasons, like, oh, it's trying to push some kind of agenda, Brie Larson's trying to push some kind of agenda, blah, 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 blah. Don't be put off by a movie, stuff like that, before you even go see it. Like, go see it and go make up your own mind. Don't get caught up in this, like, oh, we got to trash on this movie before it's even come out. That's absolutely ridiculous. A movie should be measured on the merit of the movie itself. Now, that being said, I enjoyed it. It's by no means the best entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's by no means the worst entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's enjoyable. For some reason, I think a lot of people think that it was like some big build-up to Avengers Endgame and you have to go see this movie before seeing Avengers Endgame. That's not the case at all. It's the introduction of Captain Marvel as a character who's going to be in Avengers Endgame. And I suppose it would be somewhat useful for you to know who she is and where she's come from, but by no means do you have to see this movie to probably see Avengers Endgame. So the movie is essentially a superhero origin movie. However, unlike most superhero origin movies, she's already got her powers from the get-go. And then we're kind of sort of stepping backwards through her with her forgotten memories, trying to piece it together on how she got her powers. It's essentially just another superhero origin movie, just told in a slightly different format than what we've seen before. Does it revitalise the superhero origin sort of movie? No, not really, but it's enjoyable. It's a different take on it. As I said, she's pretty badass from the get-go, and by the end of the film, she's even more badass. For me, and this is the biggest thing where this movie was a letdown, is the hero's journey that she sort of goes on throughout the movie. There's no big wall to overcome or anything like that. It's not that everything's handed to her, although it kind of is. It's more that it's just easy for her. For example, Thor 1, you know, he's badass already, and then Odin takes his powers away and he has to prove that he's worthy. He has to struggle, he has to overcome, and he gets there. Captain Marvel's struggle just seems very, very easy and not really that much of a struggle at all. It all just seems very, very easy for her. And I think that's the biggest letdown of the movie. Yeah, that just took away from the movie a little bit for me, but by no means did I think it ruined the movie at all. I suppose going on to my next kind of negative point regarding the movie is the odd choice of colour palette throughout. Now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the past few movies, especially ones set in space, have had quite colourful colour palettes. Thor Ragnarok, very colourful. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies, very colourful. Black Panther, very colourful. Avengers Infinity War, very colourful in points, such as being back in Wakanda and so on. This movie is oddly kind of just dull, and I don't get why. I mean, there's this whole sort of opening battle sequence on an alien planet that's kind of like really dusty and gloomy, and yeah, I don't know, someone just needed to kind of like turn up the sort of like highlights in the editing. Like, it's just really dark and dull, and it kind of takes away from this opening battle sequence because you can't really work out what's going on. And I saw it in 2D, so in 3D it must just be a complete blur of a mess where you have no idea what's going on. But that kind of goes throughout the entire movie. There's just this odd, dark colour palette to it all, and I don't really understand why they went with that, considering the rest of the MCU is quite colourful. So moving on to the cast of the movie, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, like I said, for some reason has been getting a load of flack for this. Yeah, you know what, she was fine, and I wouldn't be like, oh my god, she was amazing. Or I'm not like, oh my god, she was terrible, they need to recast or anything like that. Like, she was fine. The one thing that I will say to everyone is that, you know, go back and watch Thor 1 and Captain America 1. You know, Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, you know, after those first outings as those heroes, no one was going like, oh my god, yes, like, he is Thor, or like, oh my god, yes, he is Captain America. No. That's something that they've developed over time. Now, you couldn't imagine anyone playing either of those characters. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. smashed it from the get-go. But with them two, they sort of built it up over the time, and I'm sure that's what Brie Larson is going to do with Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel. You know, she's going to become more of the character over time, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing her reprise her role in Avengers Endgame, and obviously subsequent Captain Marvel movies, which I imagine there are going to be. Jude Law, playing one of the Kree soldiers in this movie, Captain Marvel's mentor, yeah, he was alright. Jude Law, you know, he comes in and he sort of gets on with it. Nothing, no sort of spectacular performance by him here, but yeah, he just comes in and gets on with it, really. Now, the two standout performances of the movie definitely go to Ben Mendelsohn, who plays the Skrull leader Talos. Can't go into too much about him due to kind of like storyline spoilers, but Ben Mendelsohn absolutely kills it in this. Even when he's got the full Skrull green makeup on, he is absolutely amazing. Such a pleasure to watch in this movie, and for me, is definitely the standout star of the movie. Secondly, you then have Samuel Jackson. Obviously, Marvel's de-aging CGI is absolutely fantastic, and there's like one or two scenes, angles where you can kind of tell it starts to look a bit bad, but for the most part, it's spot on. Like, it just doesn't bother you. You can't tell. You just go with it. But Samuel Jackson absolutely kills it in this movie. A much younger, very different version of Nick Fury than we've seen from any other MCU movie so far. Very interesting. My only letdown is kind of in terms of like MCU canon. He's so different to how we first see him in Avengers, or, you know, even Iron Man 2. There's clearly a big journey there for his character, and in this film we do famously see how he loses the eye. I'm just going to say that it's definitely not the best, but it's now canon, it's what they've gone with. Make up your own mind. I wasn't a big fan of it, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I feel like there's a missing Nick Fury movie somewhere. Just his character from this to Iron Man 2 and Avengers is just very different. I loved him in this. I don't think it's not Nick Fury. I just feel that there's definitely a Nick Fury story that needs to be told in there. But Samuel Jackson absolutely kills it in this. The dynamic between him and Brie Larson in their moments, it's kind of very buddy cop, and it is funny. The only other thing that I feel kind of makes this film suffer a little bit is the music choice. Now, they throw in some absolute banging 90s tunes throughout, but they're all very obvious. See, what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy is he picked songs of the era that weren't necessarily, you know, on like the, you know, best hits of whenever compilation CDs. Whereas like every single song that's been picked in Captain Marvel, people probably still regularly listen to. I think there would have been some other 90s bangers that people have forgotten about that they could have used for the movie. I think they went very, very safe with some of the choices, and I don't think at all times they worked. There's one fight scene which has no doubts I'm Just a Girl. Like, it works, but it's the same time, it's just kind of like, I don't know, I think you could have gone for something better. Like I said, tunes throughout. They've kind of tried to do the Guardians thing, but I think all the choices that they've gone for are just too obvious. All in all, I thought it was a very kind of good first outing for the character. Like I said, it's not perfect. I'm looking forward to see what they do with the character further on down the line and her appearance in Avengers Endgame. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. One thing I will say, at 2 hours 4 minutes long, it is perhaps a bit long for kids. The movie is 12A over here in the UK, PG-13 in the US. Between all the action sequences, there is quite a bit of talking, and I think that could be off-putting for some kids. However, it's not something that particularly bothered me. So to give the film a rating, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. As I said, not perfect, but, you know, I think it's a very good starting point for the character. So guys, thank you very much for watching today's video. Have you seen Captain Marvel? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, do give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel. Take care. Until next time.